In today's video, I'm going to be sharing some key strategies and ideas that you may want to use in your upcoming interview to help you stand out amongst other applicants. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Leah, and if you're interested in what life looks like living and working abroad, this channel's for you. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing some key strategies and ideas that you may want to use in your upcoming interview to help you stand out amongst other applicants. These are going to include things that you need to do before you actually have the interview, things that you can say that will make a memorable impression on your future employer, and how to prepare for questions that some employers may ask you and might have you asking, what the fuck? If you've watched my last video, you know that I spoke about some things that you can do to make an impressionable resume. Now you've landed an interview. Let's talk about some things that you can do to prepare to make a lasting impression on your future employer. I first want to talk about two important things that I think that you should do before you even accept the interview. First, see if the school has a web page that you can use for general information to educate yourself. I would also encourage you to see if there is a Facebook page or if the school is listed on Glassdoor.com. Facebook and Glassdoor.com are excellent resources. Not only do these two websites allow you to have anonymous feedback where you can read about experiences from previous teachers, but it also gives you information about what the management looks like, what the parents think of the school, and maybe a better sense of what your working environment will look like. The next thing that you want to do is check to see if your school has been blacklisted. A blacklist is a website with anonymous feedback about experience from previous teachers in specific schools and locations. An employer will always put their best foot forward when they want you to come and work for them. But blacklist websites tell you what's really going on. Look for detailed feedback. One person saying something like, oh, the director is so mean is not detailed feedback. The director withheld my check and threatened to deport me if I didn't work on Saturday. That's important information that you want to know. All right, so let's talk about what you can do before you do the actual interview. The first thing that I'm always going to suggest is to do a mock interview. There's so much that you can learn about your environment from doing a mock interview. There are a million YouTube videos, blogs, and articles that provide mock ESL questions that you can practice before your actual interview. The most common ones that I tend to always get asked: tell us about yourself, your teaching style, let us know how you work with low-level or advanced students, how do you keep students motivated, how do you deal with unruly students, what do you think about using English only in the classroom? Why do you want to be an ESL teacher, and why did you choose our country? Those are great ones to start with to practice. Make sure that your camera and your lights are set up at the best angle. Especially in Asia, looks do matter. Is your environment quiet enough? A mock interview can often allow you to pick up sounds that you didn't even realize were running in the background. What does your backdrop look like? If you're 35 and there's all kind of Pokemon hanging back there, it does make an impression on the employer. I usually have a bookshelf or a bookcase or a non-distracting background, something that is a plain, solid color. You should test your internet speed for stability, preferably several times a day, so that you can set the best time to conduct your interview. Prepare questions that show interest. You should never leave an interview without asking at least 2 questions for the job that you're interested in. And the key is to ask a question that makes your interviewer imagine you in the role. Examples of that can be, what's the average class size? What would a typical day look like for me at your school? What roles and responsibilities do you expect of me? What is the work environment like? Take into consideration the culture that you're interviewing for. In some cultures, a shirt that is low cut or a V-neck is considered very unprofessional. This is not a good example of a professional shirt, but it is the last day of spring break, so just ignore all of this. Obviously, you're going to be on time for your interview, but in some countries, on time actually means 5 minutes early. So let's talk about some differences that you might experience in your actual interview. At the job that I'm at now in Taiwan, I actually work at 3 different schools. When I logged on for my interview, I had a total of 9 people interviewing me. The director, the principal, and the co-teacher times 3 all showed up for my interview. Do not be surprised if you log on to your interview and you find a panel of people interviewing you and not just one teacher. Okay, so that is the informal stuff. Now, let's talk about you. You have been selected for this interview because you have qualities and requirements that your school is looking for in a level of English speaking that they want you to teach their students. Even if you have no experience, please remember that. You're offering something that they need and that you want to give. If you take that and you couple it with motivation, being able to articulate why you enjoy working with children, and having a passion for what you do, you got this. You should always start your interview first and foremost with a genuine smile. You immediately want to build rapport when the person sees you on the other end of the camera. How do you do that? First, I want you to be aware of your body language. Your body language speaks volumes about what you think about yourself and what you have to offer. Your mock interview should be able to show you little tics and habits that you may not know that you have so that you can become aware of it. Hi, my name is Leah. Nice to meet you. Hi, my name is Leah. Hi, my name is Leah. My name is Leah. Nice to meet you. Be aware of your filler words. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about, so there was at one time, like, you know, like everybody has that. Like, I know what you're talking about. If you get stuck with a question that you don't have an immediate answer for, the best thing to do is to repeat the question while you think of an answer. Can you tell us what you think is the best way to handle disruptive students? I think the best way to handle disruptive students is, my last suggestion is going to be to know your worth. What you portray actually comes off in the interview. Keep in mind, yes, degrees are important. Childhood education, yes, important. Often what employers are looking for is someone who, again, is motivated, really enjoys working with children, and loves what they do. Use your interviewer's name to build rapport. I'm really glad that you asked that question, Miss Julie. Let me tell you why I think that I'm the best choice. Really great to talk with you again, Miss Cindy. I hope I hear from you soon. Be able to have access to your resume immediately if you need to. It should always be within an eye's view of wherever you're doing your interview. So have a printed copy out, or maybe the Skype window on the left with your resume on the right. Be prepared to answer any questions about things that stand out on your resume. So that may be something like, oh, it says here that you did volunteer work. Tell us a little bit about that. It says here that you used to work nights at a daycare. How was that for you? Another thing that you can do to create rapport is to nod. Nodding shows that you understand what the employer is trying to convey. Oh, I see. The last bit of advice that I would have for you is to be prepared for things that you normally would not be prepared for. Be prepared to be asked to give a demonstration of how you would teach a lesson on the spot. Be prepared to talk about how effective your lesson plans are. We want to see if you're a right fit for our school. Can you please give us 3 words that describe you? Use words that complement the job that you're applying for. Nothing should be catching you by surprise. Even if you've never taught a class before, looking up YouTube videos of what a demo might look like or what an effective lesson plan might look like can still come off in a positive aspect with the right attitude and the right enthusiasm and the right passion for what you do. On that note, I'm gonna play devil's advocate, and I am gonna say that there are some questions that you can never quite be prepared for. In Asia, harmony is really, really important. It's important that you are a fit with the team, and important that you are able to get along with everyone. So the first 2 most common questions that I have been asked is, do you smoke and do you drink? In America, if you did smoke and you did drink, the professional thing to do would be to say no. It's because these habits are seen as negative, they are seen as detrimental to your health. They don't want to smell smoke on you when you come in, and drinking is an optional event that you do after work when you get together with friends. However, I can tell you that I have lost out on 2 jobs because I said no. One job was at a really small school that had a very tight-knit teacher community. They did everything with their boss and their Korean counterparts. They went out together, they went drinking together, and they partied together. I was actually told that because I don't drink, they didn't think that I would be a good fit for the job. And at first I was like, how you gonna judge me because I don't drink? And then I moved to Korea and Vietnam. And when I say that drinking is part of the culture, I mean, drinking is really part of the culture, and not the American, woo, we had a long 8-hour day, let's go get some drinks. It is like, we're on lunch, let's go out and sing karaoke and get some shots and then come back to work for the afternoon shift. If you are adamantly against drinking, you either need to be amenable to try something new, or you need to make sure that you state that so that you don't end up at a school that challenges your morals and your beliefs. Like, seriously. Not only that, but you also need to be aware that when you refuse to go out drinking with your teammates and your boss, it is considered very rude. It's considered really rude. Are you single? I'm sure there's a million reasons why they ask this question, because if you're not, they feel safe that you are going to be faithful to your girlfriend. They're going to wonder how you treat their women. Will you bring any women back to bed with you while you're here? Yes, that's an actual question that someone was asked on an interview. For women, in my experience, it has not been uncommon for men or superiors at my job to want to know if I'm single so that they can ask me out on dates, even if they were married. How much do you weigh? Because you're a Westerner, whatever it is, you're gonna be too fat. Just leave it at that. Would you be willing to put your hair away so that you don't scare the children? Is there any way that you can make yourself appear lighter? Could you send us a full body picture? How old are you? Age is not something that we ask about in the States, but telling your age is a way to establish the amount of respect that is shown to you when you arrive at your job. These questions may seem offensive, but they are not. They are actually very common questions that are asked during ESL interviews in other countries. Probably do best by just being honest. When you conclude the interview, be sure again to ask questions about the position. Thank the interviewer by name for their time. Let them know that you are excited. At least in the ESL industry, it should not take more than 48 hours for an employer to offer you a job. It'll be followed by an offer letter and a contract. So, how do you know if you're getting a fair contract? You should watch this video.